Why do casting websites matter? They're very important to actors, especially new actors. If you don't have an agent, if you don't have a manager, if you don't have anyone who can help you find work, casting websites are where you can find work. You can find projects that are in development. You can find projects that are just starting out. You can find projects that are in the process of looking for writers, who are looking for people to edit, who may be looking for special effects, but for actors, it's very important, especially new actors, like I just said, because this is where you get started. This is where you can get cast in productions when you don't have a lot of experience. And that's the hardest part about starting as an actor. So casting websites like Backstage, Actors Access, Casting Network, you need to set up free platforms on all of these sites. Now, there are other casting websites out there. Some of them you have to be real careful with because they try to charge you an upfront fee. They charge you to make submissions when a part comes out that's right for you. They won't let you submit some of them if you don't have a membership. So do your research. Go on Google. Now we have Google. Now you even have ChatGPT. Find out what the most legitimate casting websites are, and those are the ones you want to be a member of. I use Actors Access and Casting Networks. Now there are a number of other ones out there. Investigate those. Find out if they may be right for you, but again, be careful. Don't pay for audition information. There's a lot out there that are illegitimate. There are a lot of services out there that want you to pay to be an extra. You don't want to get involved with any of that. You want to go, especially when you're new, you want to get on a casting website and you want to apply for student films. You want to apply for non-union films. You want to apply for short films, maybe director's reels. So yes, casting networks are important and they're a great service for new actors. So I do recommend it. I do recommend that you investigate them and that you become a member of one of these services. Maybe just start out with one. I would say start out with Actors Access. Get your pictures up there. Maybe if you have any samples of work that you've done, get that up there. If you have any voiceover, get that up there. And start reading. There's a lot of great information on these sites. And you can find that information and it will help you to move forward in your career. And also check out my YouTube channel. You'll find a lot of great information there. Look in the description below and you'll see information for new actors. You'll see information for actors who are struggling. You'll see information for actors who are on the borderline. Should I keep doing this? Because I've been in this business for over 35 years, so I have a lot of information and I pride myself in giving out good, real information to you without sugarcoating it. So again, actors' websites, casting sites are important. Look into them. Being on multiple casting sites is another advantage that I always tell actors as they start moving forward in their career, because it gives you a wider net. You cast a wider net. You find out projects that may not be on each different site. So going to the different sites, looking around, finding out what's available, and then finding out if it's something that you maybe want to be involved with, something you may want to submit to. I always recommend too, when you find the project and you see who the writer, the director, the producer, look these people up. See if they've done any other projects. You want to do your research. You always want to do your research to be safe, to find out if they can do the quality of work that's going to be valuable to you, especially if you're working for deferred pay or no pay. You may be a brand new actor and you need some video for your reel, and you may want to do a project for a student film. You may want to do a project for a non-union, someone who's doing a short or a director's reel. Look to see who the people are, look them up on Google and see if they have some kind of website or some kind of samples of work they've done in the past. And don't feel shy to reach out to them if you're interested in their project. Find out what the project is, what their plans are, and see if they're open to talking about that. So it's not just a one-way street. If there's something that you want to work on, you can feel free to reach out to them too, especially if it's a non-union short film or it's a non-union director's reel or something like that. Feel free to ask your questions. Don't think because you're an actor, you don't have that much experience, you can't reach out and find out what the project is about, see if it's a project you want to be involved in, and follow up. Some people love to talk about their projects, some may not be willing to talk about it, but it's on you to reach out and make sure the project that you're casting, you're submitting to is something that you do want to work on. Submitting yourself to announcements for projects on online casting site is a way, as a new person, to help you take control of your career. You're not just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. You're not just sitting around, if you're lucky enough to have an agent, you're not just sitting around waiting for the agent to submit you to bigger projects, because the agent is going to only be submitting you to projects where there's potential pay, because that's how the agent or your manager makes money. They're rarely going to be submitting you to projects that are no pay, that potentially could help you gain experience that you do need. So you need to take your career in your own hands and find projects that may help you. Build up your reel of samples so that you can show that to casting people. You can show that to directors. You can show that to producers. You can show your talent. Again, I always talk about shooting projects on your own. Sometimes on these projects that you find on casting sites, you may meet a network of people who you can work with. You know, you may have resources. You may find out the project they're working on, and you may contact them and find out what they're in need of. You know, you can make deals with people about collaborations. So that's one way that I did in the past. I find a lot of people to work with because I enjoy collaborating on projects with other producers. And I've met a lot through casting projects. I've met a lot through projects I worked on initially. I would work on their project as an actor, you know. And even from time to time now, as a union SAG actor, sometimes I'll work on projects that are SAG deferred pay, that are smaller budget projects, that are shorts, and student films that have interesting roles, just to keep myself fresh, just to keep my talent sharp, get new material for my reel. So you, as a new actor, you need to have that same mindset, that don't sit and wait for the only projects you want to work in is a A-list film, you know, because that is sometimes unrealistic. You need to have a track record to show what you can do, to show your talent, to show your ability. And the only way you get that when you're brand new is by working on other people's projects. And it may be for free. So understand that at the beginning of your career, you will have to do free work, but you want to make sure that that free work you're doing is something that will be completed. It's something that will be up to industry standard quality, because nowadays the quality level has risen really high, even on student films and independent projects. So if you're spending your valuable time as an actor, acting, learning lines, rehearsing, studying, you want to make sure that the final project will look acceptable, presentable, have good sound, have good lighting, something that you're happy to show and that represents your work and your talent. Because you don't want to spend a lot of time working on a project and then you're ashamed of it because you can't show it because the sound is bad, the camera work was terrible. There are a lot of different reasons. So that's why I said earlier, if you have the opportunity to find out who the people are creating this project, feel free to reach out to them. See if they're open to answering your questions, to find out, you know, what they're shooting on. What type of equipment are they shooting? Do they have experience? Have they done this before? See if they're willing to talk. And sometimes when they're not willing to talk, that could be a red flag. So one thing I want you to be aware of as an actor too, when you do independent productions, student films, non-union films, for copies, you need to make sure you have a way to track people down so that they will give you the footage. I can't even imagine or begin to remember all the projects that I've done when I was young that were never finished, and people promised to give me footage that I could use on my reel, and then they never fulfilled that promise. I never got the footage. About a year ago, I got footage that I did for an independent feature film with a pretty good sized role in it that would have helped me 30 years ago, but now I'm 30 years older and I found the footage online somewhere and I was able to get a copy of it. It was great to see it, gave me a nice little smile. You know, I showed it to a few family and friends, but I needed that footage 30 years ago to put on my reel to show samples of my work. So don't let that happen to you. Get contact information, get emails, get phone numbers, and get them in advance while you're on the set, even before you're on the set, before things potentially go bad, so that you can reach out to these people and get copies of the footage that you've done. So that's something to keep in mind. If you do participate in these casting websites, find out who is in charge of the project so that later, when you need to get a copy of your footage, you're able to reach out to them. And a red flag are any casting sites that are asking you to pay up front. that are asking you to pay a service fee, that are asking you to pay a membership. You shouldn't really have to pay for casting information. That is not fair, because there's no guarantee that you're going to get cast. There's no guarantee you're going to get an audition. Most of those, and I can confidently say, if they're requesting money from you to pay up front, it's scam. Stay away from it, because there are many casting sites, like I mentioned. Start with Actors Access, where you can you can start a profile for free. You can see the casting announcements. You can start submitting. And then if you want to submit more, then you join as a member. But you can submit free. You can see the casting announcements for free. Same thing with Backstage. I think Backstage does require you to pay to become a member before you start submitting. But at least you can see if there are work that fits your type, if it feels that it's something you may want to try out, and you can try it for month to month. So don't go to these unknown casting sites. Again, do your research. Use ChatGPT, use Google. Find out what are the highly recommended sites for casting sites for actors. And those are the ones you want to belong to. Different parts of the country have some regional casting sites. Like I was in Georgia 2 years ago, and they had a couple of sites that I hadn't heard of that were popular in that area. And I found that out from my agent. So find that out, do the research, talk to fellow actors, find out what sites are real, what sites are fake, and what sites don't require you to try to separate you from your money. Be careful, do your research, and get involved with the casting sites. Also, networking with other actors is really important. That's one weak area I had when I started out. You need to find other actors in your area and network with them. Now you have Facebook groups. You can find Facebook groups, and some of those groups have in-person meetings where you can meet other actors. You can give information to them, they can give information to you. Build up a good reputation. You can start online by answering suggestions, answering questions for other people. If you can give them advice, go ahead, give them some advice. If it's good advice, find out how you can be helpful, and then if you need help, you can reach out and ask for help. Ask for people's suggestions on casting sites that are good. Ask for people's suggestions on agents that are good, that are managers that are good. Find out where you can learn about student projects who are casting, student projects who are in production. So those Facebook groups, some are good, especially ones that are local in your area. I would recommend that you get involved with those. Those are almost like online casting sites too. A lot of people put their projects they're casting on those sites, and it's not a formal casting site, but that's how people find out what others are doing. They may be doing a short film, they may be shooting some scenes, they may be shooting scenes just for their demo reel. That's another way you can participate and build a reputation with other actors. And network with other actors and actresses. Don't feel isolated that you have to do this all by yourself. Reach out, become a friend, offer advice, offer suggestions, offer support, and you will receive the same in kind. Building a network of fellow actors is a great way to find projects. It's a great way to network and work together with other people who are on the same path you're on. So don't feel that you have to do this alone. Find a group, become involved, stay up to date. Get online, do your searches, find out about new casting sites that have come out. See if you know people that may be using it. Again, Facebook groups, again, actors groups. Find out about who's doing what. Read the trade papers. Read the online trade papers. Local, there are a lot of local productions. Even most cities have a film commission, and they update their website constantly about what projects are shooting in town. Feel free to look up the casting people. Feel free to reach out to them. Don't drive people crazy, but a short little email may be nice to reach out. Tell them you're an actor. Tell them you live in that town. Tell them you're interested in finding out more about the production, if they may be interested in casting someone of your type. It doesn't hurt. It does not hurt, especially when the production is in your area. It's in your own town. So look at your local film commission. Their website usually has a lot of information there about local productions, maybe the town over, maybe the city over or the state over. So get in touch, stay connected, find people, join a group, share information. Don't just have a one-way street where you're only looking for information. Share information that you may have, tips you may have, or productions you may know about. And hopefully other people in the group will share with you. Again, these Facebook groups are a good starting point. There's other places that have that also. You know, look on at YouTube videos about acting and about training and about networking, and look down in the comments. You may see people making comments, people sharing information, and you share your information there too. So stay connected. Don't feel isolated. You don't have to do this alone. You can build a small group on your own of actors in your town and rehearse scenes and share information about casting sites. So again, casting sites are important, but then there's always a way to do it offline too. But be a part of these casting sites, and they are important, but be careful. Craigslist has projects on there too, but you have to be very careful because a lot of stuff on Craigslist, unfortunately, is a scam. They're trying to separate you from your money. So be careful. Don't fall victim. Don't let your desire to make it in this business make you the perfect victim. Stay with the traditional, proven casting sites and find out what they are. Find fellow actors, find acting schools, reach out to them. They have great information for you there too. So if you're brand new, find that information online, find it at your local community theater. Maybe you have a junior college in your area who has an acting department. Go knock on the door and ask the professor for some advice. Ask the fellow students for some advice. Do your due diligence. Be careful out there, but also use the casting sites and network. I'll see you on the next one.